We are walking into sort of a dark patch, but we're doing it eyes wide open. Emotionally, this is just really difficult. And so what I would love to see you do is...
I love this. This is really what I needed. It's just, how do I make it through? So this is awesome.
Hey, Carley, thanks for being here. I'm excited to chat with you. Why don't you tell me what's your biggest problem right now? What's the kind of the core question I can help you with?
So I've been using YNAB for about 10 years, handling my expenses. And I think one of my challenges is that my plan is overcomplicated at this point. You know, I'm really challenged with handling discretionary spend, especially the dining out, and making sure that I'm not overspending also in Amazon purchases. So those are kind of my three big hopes for this session.
To give us a little bit of context here, right now, you've got obviously discretionary spend is the biggest. Tell us about what you've got going on. So how many kids do you have? Who's kind of at home? And what are some of the biggest expenses you've got?
Sure. So right now I have 3 kids at home, 2 13-year-olds and a 20-year-old. The 20-year-old's going to school full time, and the other 2 kiddos are being shared between 2 households. One of the kids is going back and forth. I've just finished a divorce in June, and with that was an incredible amount of expenses that have, put me upside down in credit cards. And on top of that, I have a pretty significant student loan that is mostly the parent plus loans that I'm used to support my older 2 children.
Got it. Okay. Well, I think that's what I need. What I'd love to do is just have you go ahead and share your screen. Let's pull up your YNAB and let's take a look at what's going on and see if we can simplify and find some ways to maybe save some money. All right, perfect. The first thing that we're going to do before we even get into the sort of strategy part of this is I just need to do a quick run through of, are there any egregious mistakes or anything going on that we, need to fix in order to trust things. So I'm going to draw a little bit here just so you can notice. What I noticed right out of the gate here is that it says you reconciled 5 days ago on this first national checking, but you've got this uncleared charge here that's throwing this here. What I want to see is this actually reconciling? Will you hit reconcile for me in the top right? Okay, so that tells us that whatever balance it's pulling from the bank right now is not in agreement with this cleared balance. And so the first thing I would want to just quickly make sure of is, do you feel like you understand the difference between these 3 numbers here, cleared, uncleared, and working?
Yes. So I use a lot of times I will go and sort by uncleared and double check that any of my scheduled transactions maybe haven't gone through yet.
Okay.
Or sometimes I'll put in a transaction, but the cents doesn't match. And so therefore I get a duplicate instead of the...
How confident do you feel, without us having to go down a rabbit hole, how confident do you feel that number, the cleared balance, is right? It's just maybe a little behind this morning. Okay.
Yeah, it's right. I mean, I just checked it yesterday to make sure I was updated. It is correct. We have several expenses that are coming in from the weekend.
Got it. Okay. You have been using YNAB for a long time, so I'm going to say this for the sake of the video, not necessarily for you in particular. Normally, I would not do this many scheduled transactions just because it creates an increased opportunity for duplicates and mistakes for people. You seem like you have a pretty good handle on that part of it. So if it works for you, I got no issues with it. But for anybody watching, if you have trouble reconciling your accounts, I would recommend not using scheduled transactions for a little while because it will create a little bit more of a headache. Okay, the rest of these, do we feel good on reconciling without checking each one right now in terms of like the balances are pretty right?
Yeah, most of them are updated as close as possible. Yep.
One more question on the accounts, and then we're going to go over to the plan. If you click this blue header at the top here that says 32 transactions, go ahead and hit that for me. And I wanted to ask, these transactions that you see here, basically YNAB still wants you to approve them even though they've guessed. So are you just a little bit behind from the weekend on catching up, or do you typically not approve those?
No, so I usually get up to date on all of those.
Awesome.
These are the ones from the weekend. Yeah.
Great. Well, I'm not going to worry about it then. Amazon's a nightmare anyways, because they're always guessing the wrong thing and you got to go through it. So
Yes.
We're good with that. Let's go over to the plan. Let's focus on simplifying your structure. And I'm going to have you actually just go ahead for this conversation and just click into August. Let's go ahead and go into the next month. So the first thing I'd like to see is how many categories we're working with. If you select this little button here that chooses all of them, what do we have? 107. Okay, yeah. So Carly, you're definitely on the high end. It's okay. I have a bunch too. I've got over 100 in mine, but it's definitely on the higher end. Do me a favor and click this little bitty down arrow right there to the left and collapse everything. I want to get a sense of your groups. Okay, so let me skim through here. Now, this is interesting. You've got a house checking and a transportation check. Do you have separate checking accounts for those?
No.
Okay. It's just the way it's labeled. Pants work, recreation, sanity check, gift savings. Scroll down for me a little bit more. Christmas wish farm wish list. Got it. Okay. I don't know if you're taking notes over there, but let me go ahead and tell you kind of one quick thing that's going to set up this simplifying conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I'm looking at category structure, there's a few different scenarios in which I decide this does need a new category. So number one, if something is a significant expense relative to my income, then it needs a new category, right? And so that's why most people's rent or checking account or a mortgage or groceries, those need categories because they're big. The next is if I really want the data around something, like I'm going to actually use this data to change behavior and inform my decision making, then that can get a category. An example there is maybe you don't spend a ton of money on coffee shops, but it's enough that you want to pay attention to it, so you have a category for it. The third is if it just doesn't quite fit anywhere else. And so as we're looking through here, and I'm going to try and find some places for you to simplify, if it is not one of those three, meaning you don't really need the data, it's not that big, and we can kind of lump it in with something else, I'm going to encourage you to delete and simplify. Does that kind of make sense?
Yes, I need help. So I am taking notes.
Okay. Are you cool? I'm actually going to, if you're okay with this, I'm going to request control for this part.
Yeah, go right ahead.
And that way I can actually poke around your budget. Great, I've got it. Okay. We're going to zoom in just a smidge. I'm going to collapse this sidebar, and then here we go. Okay. So we've got in the budget, groceries, Let me skim. Are you familiar with due date based budgeting versus values based budgeting? Have you heard me talk about that at all?
No, I haven't yet.
So a due date based structure is one where you're organizing categories primarily around when something is due, right? What's the date, whether it's fixed or variable, whether it's monthly or irregular. We're organizing everything around when something is due. A values-based structure would be organizing your categories around what the underlying purpose or reason behind a purchase would be. And so a really easy example is a values-based structure for a house for home-related expenses. It would organize things like your mortgage and your utilities into something called bills or monthly or fixed. And then it would put home maintenance into an irregular section or a true expense section. So it's going to break up house expenses based on their due dates. Whereas a values-based structure would have a group probably called like home or housing, and it would put anything related to the house in that group because whether it's monthly or yearly or irregular, it's all related to the same underlying reason or why or value. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So you've got like more of a values-based structure. You've got a few things in here that are a little more what I would say due date based. Like for example, this immediate expenses, right? You're not organizing your subscriptions based on the value. You are just putting them in here because they happen immediately and we need to plan for them. Let me tell you the why behind it, and then we're going to use that to guide our structure.
Okay.
Due date based, that type of structure is really helpful for people where the cash flow is tight, right? And they're really paycheck to paycheck, it's tight because then it helps us know what's due, when it's due. A values-based structure is going to be more helpful when we're trying to use the data to really ask are we spending in alignment with our values? Is this actually where we want our money to be going? It's better for reporting purposes. Most people tend to start with more of a due date base because that's just where they're at. They need help with their cash flow, and then they move to more of a values based over time. Kind of where do you feel like you're at in that?
Well, right now, money is extremely tight because of the divorce. So I really I go to my immediate expenses when I'm paid, and then I start funding those first.
Love it.
Before I do any other funding.
Okay. So we're going to leave it like that. I'm not going to change that part of the structure. I am going to show you something with views here in a second where we can get a little bit of a taste of the values thing. But let's start hammering this. All right. So groceries. You talked about, you had watched, I heard it from Hannah's at YNAB's video, not to be confused with my wife, Hannah, but Hannah's video about breaking up your groceries into weeks. So we're working with that right now. I think this is great. This is an area where I don't think we need to simplify it. I think if this is working for you, you should leave it. The one thing I would encourage you on this, just practically, would be, if at all possible, it may not be possible in your life right now, but if at all possible, if you can find a way to consistently go to the grocery store the same day each week and kind of work that into your rhythm, that is one thing that I've seen will really help people with actually sticking to their grocery budget. Because if you go to the grocery store just randomly, oh, I ran out of this, I need to run over there and get something, you will inevitably buy a bunch of other stuff. And so I would encourage you to think about trying to do a little bit of meal prep or meal planning to the point where you can go, I shop for groceries on Fridays and or whatever day it is. Does that make sense?
Yes. And I have 2 teenagers who are constantly wanting to go to Walmart.
Of course. Of course. So yeah. Okay. That's all we'll say about that for now. All right. Daily budget activities. So this is going to be dining, gas, fees, stuff I forgot. Okay. Here's my question for you about the kids. This dining out, how much of this is just you versus you and kids versus just kids using your card?
I can answer that in 2 different ways. So most of it is me feeding them.
Okay.
They don't use my card. However, I have also decided to use their green light cards as their dining out money.
Okay.
So I have an allowance section later on where it transfers once a week. And that's the money that they have. All 3 of them that are in the house can choose to spend their dining out money, because I was really struggling with managing that expense. And to be honest, I'm still struggling to manage that expense because, it's busy. We got back from a trip. We're hungry. They don't want to cook. I mean, that is an area that I really need work. And I know that, that's an area that I'm still working.
So here's what I would like to do. So this is what I want you to understand, the broader thing that we're about to do, the why behind it, and then I'll show you. Yes, you have a lot of categories. I actually don't want to simplify, though, in the areas that are problem areas. I want to probably get actually more data in those areas. And so we're actually probably going to get a little more complicated on the eating out for a second, and then we're going to simplify elsewhere. So here's what I want you to see. I'm going to go to your all accounts over here on the left. I'm going to search in the search bar for the word dining out. I'm going to change this to be the last 3 months just to get a sense of what's going on. I'm going to then sort by outflow. Now, why am I doing this? Because I want to get a sense of, like, when you dine out, are we eating at fancy steakhouses or are we just death by 1,000 paper cuts, right? And what I'm noticing almost immediately is that in the last 3 months, there have been a total, if you zoom in the top right, you can see, and my face might be over it, so you may not be able to see it, but the total spend of the last 3 months is $1,800, and that's across 138 transactions. And so if I do 1,800 divided by 138, that's an average of $13. And so what that tells me, right, and that's 138 transactions in about 90 days. Right. So that tells me what's happening here is this is 100% death by 1,000 paper cuts, right? You're just $13ing yourself to death. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to separate your dining out based on the value so that we can get a better sense of what in the world's going on and pay attention to it. I'm going to add a new category. I always have trouble spelling this word, called convenience eating out. This is going to be where you put transactions that are fundamentally, we ran out of time, we didn't want to cook, we didn't want to clean, the girls were hungry, I just bought something, right?
Yep.
This dining out, this is going to be, I'm going to add the word here, relationship. So this is going to be, we actually intentionally said, let's go out and have fun. Let's go out and have a good time. Let's go out and build relationship, right? This could be you with your friends. This could be you with your kids. But the primary value here is going to be, I want to intentionally spend money to enjoy my life with my kids and that kind of thing.
Right. Yes.
Okay. So now if we're thinking about targets for these, how much relationship dining out would you like to do per month? And then we'll do convenience in a second.
At least one meal. So one meal for 5 people is like $100.
Yeah. So I'm going to say monthly 100. I'm going to change that target to 100 for monthly. And then I think as we wrap up the month of July and we get into August, that we start aiming for this here. And I think you could even make it a really fun, I'm going to talk more about kid stuff here in a second, but I think making this a really fun thing where it's like, I'm not trying to be frugal and tell everybody in the house we're never eating out. I just want to do it more fun and more intentionally and do it for relationship building. Now, convenience eating out, it's unrealistic for you to cut this to 0. Okay. So right. I'm not like, that's not going to happen. But I do think we obviously need to get away from it being a daily thing.
Yes. I've gotten it down to less than 200 a month. I mean, because if you look at, the actuals, it's much higher, but yeah. I think
And so if we do 50 a week, which like you said is about 200 a month for a 4-week month, if you're averaging $13 a transaction, that's going to be about 3 to 4 transactions a week.
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound realistic to you?
It does, because I also give the kids, basically each kid gets another $13 a week, right? Okay. So each one of them has a choice to do that.
Okay, great. And so that'll be down in probably the kids section here, which we'll get to. But how are you liking this change? Does this make sense on where we're going with it?
I love that, because having the focus on value versus just dining out, because I find, oh my gosh, I'm spending so much money on dining out, but I do want to go out for like breakfast altogether sometimes. And because I'm spending so much money on the convenience eating out, it's, not really a possibility.
Yeah. I think let's roll with that. Gas is what it is. We're not going to change anything there. Fees.
Yeah, we probably could just, I think we need that.
Can just go away. It doesn't even look like you've spent anything in here in the last 12 months. Yeah, there's nothing even in there. Okay. Stuff I forgot. Now, here's the next thing. Yeah, you're not even spending anything in there either.
Yeah, some of these I think I just implemented the stuff I forgot last month because
you've got some overlap in some categories. So that's what we're going to try and simplify. All right. So I like the eating out. We're good there. Let's come down to immediate. Because your cash flow is tight right now, this is an area I probably also don't want to simplify too much. Sometimes I will combine subscriptions into like one line called subscriptions and things. But because right now the main goal is like managing cash flow, I'm thinking we keep these. If I were being really picky, you've got a few of these targets here where the target is not the right date. So like, for example, Apple subscriptions, in the name you have it on the first, the target says end of the month. Okay. I would change this. So I'm going to change this one. And here's why I'm going to do it, because the next thing that I would do, you've kind of almost done this. It's just not perfect. The next thing I would do is I would organize this entire group by date, right? So like this Sansama actually needs to go down here.
Oh yeah.
And then this Pulse needs to get moved up. And so I would get those all in order of due date. Mm-hmm. This health can go down to the bottom. Okay. Immediate expenses, I think we leave it. I'm good with that one. Now the divorce, because it's finalized here, I would, at this point, probably hide the overwhelming majority of this.
Yeah.
Spousal support, is this what it is going forward?
It'll increase, but yeah, it'll be at least that.
So this is where like some people with divorce stuff, they want to keep it in a separate section, and I understand why. if it were me, just from a simplicity standpoint, I'd probably just put this in the immediate expenses and then hide this entire group. And then that way we can just be done with the group.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Okay. I'll throw that up here and then you can move it around. And then we're just going to be done with this. Housing. Oh,
to be honest,
y'all got guinea
this
pigs?
section, yes, we do.
Oh, those are fun. Okay.
Yeah, it was a pretty significant expense when we first got them, but now it's not, right? It was,
Yeah. Okay, sorry, I interrupted you. What were you saying about the housing?
I haven't done a lot of work in this section. I am pretty sure we could update this. I haven't really, to be honest, the top 3 are my big, where most of my money goes.
Yeah.
And so the rest of this could stand some updating.
So you seem like the type of person who's a little detail oriented. So that's good. I'm right there with you. So I'm saying that from the standpoint of like an Amazon category doesn't make sense to you. Doesn't make sense for you. You are going to break out your Amazon purchases and put them where they need to go, right? Streaming services, you probably don't need that because again, you've just got everything separated in your immediate obligations. These right here, again, like you've got a bunch of things like city card transfer, credit card fees, stuff where it's like those should just be combined into credit card related things. The city card transfer, that's a one-time thing. You don't need a dedicated category for it. If
right.
That makes sense. Household, I would leave. Cleaners, do you have that right now or is that canceled at the moment?
Canceled at the moment.
I figured. Yeah. So it's like for now, I would just hide it, right? You can always bring it back, but I would hide stuff to get it out of your site. What is the finances line?
To be honest, I have no idea.
Okay. So, and then taxes, is this old like back taxes?
Yeah, I think it was probably like a tax fee that we had to pay to, get it
done. Okay.
So
yeah. At this point, I'd probably just hide both of these, right?
Yeah.
And we don't need them. And then again, going forward, if something comes up and you're like, oh, I need to add a category for this, run it through those 3 questions, right? Is it really big? Is it, something you really want to see separately, or does it just not fit somewhere else? More often than not, you can find somewhere that it makes more sense to include it, and it avoids just creating endless categories. All right, so what are we at? We started at 170. We're down to 162. We're getting there. And we added a couple too. So
yeah, and I think we could hide furniture and guinea pigs, and because those are things I had to track prior to the divorce.
What about your ongoing expenses for the guinea pigs?
I mean, that just can go under pets now. I mean, that's just food and hay.
Awesome.
It was just that we had to I just wanted to know how much we were spending.
Yeah, understood.
Because it was quite a bit at the beginning. And then we could hide the city card transfer as well. That was a one-time thing.
Let me ask you another question here because I did see a couple different things. It looks like under immediate obligations, you have rent.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've also got a house, though, that you and your ex-husband used to own. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
And so, but you're in the process of selling that?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, okay. So I also have to pay the mortgage.
And so did I miss that?
It's in immediate expenses. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, there it is. I just overlooked it. Great. So that's that. And then you've got this home maintenance, and hopefully we sell this home soon and we don't have any major maintenance in the meantime. But for now, we'll leave the category. What's the computer for? That's like buying a new computer?
Yeah, this tends to be, I haven't used it a lot, but you can see I did just purchase a computer. This is more like, you would call this like a technology.
Yeah, okay.
Like a one-time technology expense is more what that is. Like I need to replace a computer or I need to replace it like a printer.
Do you get any of that reimbursed like from your company at all? Okay.
No. Mm-mm.
So
that's personal.
Got it. Okay. So in this case, I would like to leave it. And eventually, once we get you in a little bit of a better spot, we'd want to target and start saving up to replace it again in 2 years or whatever it is. But
right.
For now, we'll just
that would be. Yep.
Okay. All right. Transportation. How many cars do you have?
1.
And then what about the 20-year-old?
He has one as well, but he's in charge of paying for his stuff.
Okay. So you don't pay like the insurance or anything on that?
I do, but it's just that's an immediate expenses. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Car repairs, license, tolls, tires. So this is again where I'm like, most of the time, I'm going to combine tolls, parking, and car washes with my gas.
Oh, okay.
And so I would just put, because you've got a gas, like that's just routine the way you drive and roll with your car.
Okay.
There are exceptions to that, people who have abnormally high parking expenses, but for the most part, I would combine this. It's not like you're going to all of a sudden significantly change your behavior because of adjusting the toll data separately. You see what I'm saying? So I think let's combine those. Tires, I think that's fine. Some people work at it with car maintenance and just include it in that. Others, because tires can be bigger, they want to actually set a target and save up for it. I think either way is fine. That's a preference thing. All right.
This was extensive because I was having to, indicate how much I was paying for everything for them.
Yeah. And that makes sense to me. And that's I've helped a lot of people going through divorces, in the middle of divorces. So I'm very familiar with like the sort of tracking that needs to get done. Now that it's behind us, let me tell you my preferred structure for kids stuff, because I think it might help you simplify. And then rather than us do this together, I might just have you do that for homework as like go forth. Right. So I'm gonna put in, you'll delete this later, but I'm just gonna put in a little separation here so that we can see the difference between what I'm adding versus what you have. For each kid, once kids start getting into preteen, teenage years, so yours are all there, I like to have separate categories per kid because their expenses start getting a little bit different, especially as they get older. Sometimes I'll combine, but this level of combining gets really obnoxious unless you absolutely need the data, right? So here's my thought. Rather than just type your kids' names, I'm just going to do kid number 1, and we're going to do one category for needs / care, school stuff. Okay, this is a mouthful, and you can change it. Here's the idea. This is the basic stuff that you as a parent feel it is your duty to provide for them.
Okay.
Then we're going to have a allowance, fun, discretionary. So this is some parents do allowances, some parents do fun spending, however you want to think about it. Some parents just buy stuff for their kid. This is the not needed stuff. This is what you want to give them or give them to manage, or you want to buy for them for fun, right? This is where your $13 weekly, meal type thing would go. The third, and not everybody has this, but basically if your kid has expensive activities, each kid will get their own activities category. And so sports, music, things like that, hobbies, interests, whatever that parents want to provide. And so fundamentally, my opinion is that kid expenses can end up, every kid can just have 3 categories. And then that takes this whole group from being, you currently have about 20 categories to 3 for the 3 kids that live at home. And so that would be 9. So we could cut this group in half.
That'd be great.
Okay. So for
I'll
homework, I would have you set up these needs, care, school stuff. That's just clothing, personal care stuff. It's, tutoring. It's all it's the necessary stuff that you as a parent want to provide for your kid. Any questions on this?
No, that's great.
Okay.
Love that.
Now, we're going to address birthdays here in a second. Let's come down here. Now, family support, is this other extended family or is this your immediate family?
This is our immediate family, right? So, these are a couple of things that I noticed I missed, but Ian's can go into kid expenses.
Yep.
And then,
So the reason I'm asking is to try and bring some clarity, we're going to have this group at the top where we're just going to have next month's, and that'll sit at the very top of our budget. And then all these things here, family therapy, that to me is more of an immediate expense, is where I would probably put that.
Okay.
Some of these other things, they probably get rolled up into, I would rename this girls' expenses. I would just rename it kid. Put all the kids in there. And then I think you can get rid of the family support group entirely.
Okay.
All right. So now this is your group. Is that right?
All
right. Yeah. So you've got 13 categories, which definitely feels like a little overkill. Let me look here. So if you have a gym or if that's canceled, if you have a gym though, again, I would put it in immediate obligations. We're just going to put all that stuff with fixed recurring costs like that up there.
Yep.
healthy eating, doesn't that just get worked into your groceries?
Yeah, that was used as kind of an incentive, but yeah, I haven't used it in a long time. So again, like
Okay.
I said, this is just that some of these things I haven't even looked at because again, it's too complicated.
Yeah, and that's where I'm just gonna start coming in here then and slashing and just being like, "What? Hi, are you done with the gym for now? Is that canceled at the moment?"
Yeah, I have it, but it's in immediate expenses, so you can just delete
Oh,
it.
great. So we can be done with that.
You can delete the healthy eating. It's fine.
Yeah. Friend lunch. Do you really want to see this separate, or could that just go in the dining out relationships part? Or what
Yeah,
do you
it can
think?
go in the dining out relationships, which I think is a better place.
Great. So we're gonna roll that up into that. Medical. Let me get these kind of all side by side. So medical, dentist, glasses. Do you need to see any of those separately?
No, they're just all expenses. So there you go.
Here's kind of what I'm also getting at, right? Is the more comfortable you get with YNAB, and you've been using it for a while, but the more comfortable you get, the more you can dig into the data in the account section, right? And so even if you have one category that has a bunch of stuff in it, once you understand how to navigate, you can just go into the accounts and search and dig in to figure out how much was dental versus how much was glasses if you really need to know.
Yeah, no, I'd be good to put it all together.
Okay.
I think the only thing that I was thinking was that the Carley's glasses needed to be like a savings goal because I know it's
Yeah.
coming up.
Maybe we leave the glasses separate, but I think we can combine the medical and dental.
Yeah.
And then we can get rid of this. Now, what's the Girl Scout expense for you?
A lot.
Okay.
I'm a co-leader, so
Okay, you lead it. Got it.
Yeah, like I tend to spend a couple $100 a month. Maybe not so much right now, but it tends to be a lot.
Okay. I want to keep that separate then. I'd want to keep an eye on that. Online subscriptions, I think, again, most of this probably can just roll up into immediate obligations if you have
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
So there is a scheduled transaction, so I'm not going to do anything with this, but you should move that one for homework and then hide it.
Yep.
Carley, oops.
Yeah, that was something I was trying.
Yeah, you're averaging $2 a month there, right? Over the last 12 months. It's like, yeah, we're not going to worry about that.
Yeah. Yep.
So we're going to roll that up into the stuff I forgot and move on.
Yep.
Love it. Books and Supernatural, you're not spending
Supernatural
a lot
no. Yeah.
in either of those.
Is there like a place to put like I mean, I have a sanity section, which I feel like needs to be completely collapsed, right?
Yeah, look at this. Okay. This is all your interests?
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Hannah and I, we would get along well. These are great. However, if I select this, the entire group per month on average is $150 a month across all of these.
Yeah.
interests.
So I feel like I could just collapse that into hobbies.
I totally agree. Agree. And so I'm going to come up here under Carley checking, and we're going to I'm just going to rename this hobbies and interests.
Yeah.
And then are you cool with what I'm about to do? If I delete this and roll it
I
up?
really wanted to do that. Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to delete this. It's going to all roll up into hobbies and interests.
Awesome. I didn't know you could do that. Yeah, that's helpful.
And then we'll put Supernatural in there too, because that's only $3 on average. Oh, there's only one transaction in there. Yeah, so that's not even. All right, where are we at? We are 147. Okay, we're getting there. Okay, pets. What kind of pets? Guinea pigs, anything else?
I have 2 cats, 2 dogs. So yeah.
Wow. Okay, yeah. So yeah, we've got 2 dogs and a cat as well. For the dogs, do you do grooming, boarding, or is it all just basic food and vet?
It's food and vet. Yeah, I don't do any boarding anymore.
Okay. In this case, your pet food, does it get just bought at like the grocery store with everything else?
Well, it usually goes to the pet store because they have some, but yeah.
So the reason I'm asking is I'm just, again, thinking about where things will actually get categorized. Pet medicine, pet care, that's going to be your food and stuff, and then pet emergency. I actually like these 3. I think that the guinea pigs just get rolled up in here. I probably wouldn't change anything about this.
Okay.
I don't think the dogs and cats need to be separate or anything. I think that's fine. Work. Do you travel for work and get reimbursed?
I travel for work. I don't get reimbursed, but a lot of times I have to spend extra
Okay.
to, for the family when I'm
Mm,
gone.
got
Right.
it.
So this is kind of I'm going on a trip this month. I need to anticipate I'm going to have to give them like 200 or $300 for food and,
Okay.
for transport or whatever.
Okay. In that case, I do like seeing that separate. That's one that the data I would want to be able to see. Recreation. Let me kind of look at these in
Yeah. I
combination
think
with.
there's one opportunity so if you go down to Christmas, I think that was a couple more. I, there should be Christmas there somewhere, or maybe I hit it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, I
so
see it.
yeah. So for Christmas, I went ahead and rolled in all of my Christmas budget here
I
because
see it.
I didn't know what else to do. So for me,
Yeah.
I'm okay leaving it because I don't use it except for at Christmas.
Yeah, that has 25 categories in it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can
Unless there's a better way to do it.
no, it's all good. I'm going to be a little nosy here.
Mm-hmm.
How much do you think you spend across like the whole shebang for Christmas? If I added up all the spending across all 25 of these categories, what do you think it is?
2,500, maybe 3,000.
Okay. So that's very common. I think this is fine. It's going to be overkill for most people. If you really get a lot of value out of thinking about like, okay, I have Christmas, I've got $2,500. How do I want to do it? And it helps you to see it this way. I think it's cool. Here's what I'm going to recommend.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to actually add a category right here at the top, and it's going to be called. I'm going to put like a little icon here, and it's going to be called Christmas Savings Holding. And what we're going to do is, I know things are tight right now, so you're not doing it at the moment, but when you're ready, this will be the category that you set a target on. So rather than setting targets for all of
Oh, that's a
these,
great idea.
this is going to be such a pain if you do that. So you're going to set one target for like $2,500 by December 25. And then
Mm-hmm.
basically come October, November, December, you'll just start moving the money from this category down here to all these different things based on what you want to do.
Yeah, that would be great because otherwise I don't really use it, but I didn't have that little tidbit, which is creating the savings holdings.
Yeah.
That's great.
Cool. Holiday savings and then recreation and then gifts. Let me put these two next to each other. So to me, vacation and recreation have quite a bit of overlap. And so I want to know this. Now, let me give you the quick rundown as I ask you these. There are actually four. There's four overarching types of travel. Type
Okay.
1 is work-related travel. Type 2 is travel to visit family or friends, typically family. Then type 3 is small weekend, kind of long weekend trips. And then type 4 is a big trip. So a big trip is like you have this Bermuda category. That's one where it gets a dedicated category. Florida vacation, that's a dedicated category. Whereas if you guys go, up into the mountains of Colorado for the weekend, then that's just a long weekend kind of thing. My preference would be you've kind of got like categories for every single trip in here. And I think that's probably overkill, right?
Yeah.
You've also got a few things in here that probably just made their way in here that don't make sense. Like outside repairs and vacations doesn't really make any sense.
Right.
New car, that should probably go somewhere else as well. It looks like maybe at one time was called savings, then it got changed to vacation, something. So I think let's probably just get rid of these for now. And if you want to add them back in, they would be in, another savings. Now, if we look at vacation and we look at recreation, I want you to think about the next 12 months. Do you have any significant or bigger trips that you would like to put in here that like, yeah, this is one I'm thinking about and it would be big enough that it deserves its own category?
Yeah, I'm probably visiting my sister next May for graduation.
Okay. So what we're going to do is we'll say, you can rename this later, but we'll say sister graduation visit. And then what I'll typically do is May 2027, like that. All right. Anything else?
Just the Bermuda trip, which is this Friday.
Oh, you're going this week? Okay, cool. So we'll do July 2026.
Mm-hmm.
Right. These then, I'm going to basically say, I'm going to turn camping into small trips, long weekends.
Yeah, that would be great.
Park passes, those are like national park passes annually. That's probably fine because those will have a due date once you put them in. Kim's visit, road trip, summer camp, Florida vacation. If those are old, you can just hide them. If they're upcoming, you just should decide whether they do truly deserve their own category or whether you should just put it in small trips and long weekends.
So summer camp is actually a kid expense
Yeah, so
that I
that should get
probably,
moved.
yeah, moved up to kid expenses. Okay. And it is a specific, there's one kid that wants to go and the other one doesn't. So I'd
Got
actually
it.
just put it underneath theirs.
Yeah, that's perfect. You can do that. Now, winter break, again, weekend fund. We're just going to probably combine that with small trips, long weekends.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's good. Because even Hannah and I used to have a category called day adventures, I think is what we called it. But it's like, it's all kind of the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, all I'm going to do is use this data to look back and go, okay, how much are we spending on weekend fun, small trips, that kind of stuff. Winter break, this to me would just be labeled as like sister graduation or Bermuda or whatever you're actually going to do during winter break, or it would be a weekend fun, small trip.
Yeah, like what if it, so this would be very specific to winter break and spring break, right? So that's more of a longer.
Do you typically go somewhere? What do y'all do for winter and spring break?
We don't usually, well, we don't usually, we did one this year.
Okay.
But with the divorce, of course, I'm going to try to be more intentional about the breaks when I have both the kids with me. So I would think that I would need it to be an intentional category.
Got it. I like it. So in this case, this would be one where you would set, now we can get rid of recreation, right? And we can combine all that. Would you really want to see it separately, or could we just have one called spring break / winter break?
Yeah, I think combined is fine.
And so from a targeting perspective, again, I know we're going to talk targets here in just a second, but from a targeting perspective, this is one where I would think about how much might I want to be able to spend here over the course of a year, divide by 12, and then that's how I would set my monthly target. Gift savings and holiday savings. This is one where, going back to our 3 questions, right? Is this a big expense? Do I really want to see it separate? Can it fit anywhere else? You like breaking out everything for Christmas. Cool with that. Mm-hmm. A lot of these other holidays, though, start getting really squirrely. It's just a lot, right? Your holiday savings category has 12. All of these gifts has 7. That's 19 categories between these two.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you what I do for most people is I end up just combining Mother's Day, Father's Day, birthdays, graduations, baby showers, all of that kind of stuff into one category. I do keep it separate from Christmas, but one category just called gifts. And then we have data that tells us, hey, on average, we're spending $225 a month here, which means we better budget $225 a month, right? To be able to do stuff. For most people, that works really well. The one sort of exception would be if you know in particular that you go really hard for like one person's birthday, then fine. They, have a separate category for the kids' birthdays or something. But for the most part, it's like you probably don't need 19 here.
Yeah, that's fine. And to be honest, I don't really use it except for 4th of July because 4th of July is the one that we go hardcore on.
Great. So that's perfect then, right? So it's like I would do gifts and holidays, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to keep 4th of July. And then all of these other ones, for the most part, are just going to get rolled up into gifts. And then you're going to set a target based on the average data for that.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's fair. That's a great way to do it because I don't really use the rest of them.
Yeah. So after you do that, let's just see where we're at. So we're going to keep, I'm going to select everything, deselect these 2, add those back in, and then I'm going to turn off Christmas. That gets us down to 102 categories. That feels much more manageable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're going to do that for gifts and holidays. That will do those. And then We've already done Christmas, emergency fund. I like these. If you've watched my video on emergency funds, people know that I'm not a huge fan of a general emergency fund. I like to think about the different emergencies that could happen and then plan for them. So I think this is fine. If you want to keep it, it's good. The wish farm and wish list, water world, stickers, and then a couple of items. Yeah. So like decision day is already in there. That's in there twice. I saw that under holidays. I think you can probably get rid of both of these groups, in my opinion. It was probably something you started at one point and then just didn't really stick with. And so for now, I'd probably remove them. And then if you have savings goals that you want to save up for their fun, I would put them in along with whatever category structure. So now if I look, once you get rid of those, Christmas is that. Do this one, this one. We'll see where we're at. Started at 170 and we're at 95. I feel really good about that. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, great. Much better. I especially like some of the things around kids and then the holidays I think will be very helpful.
Okay, so the last thing that I really wanted to do here after simplifying is you mentioned a little bit about just the tightness of the budget post-divorce and the discretionary spend and all of that stuff. You're going to make a number of changes here, and once you do that, you'll probably have some targets that get updated. For now, though, your current cost to be me is going to be sitting right around $10,679, just under 11 grand. And it looks like your expected income take home's around 9. Does that sound right?
Yeah, it's about that. I'm about 2,700 under at the moment.
Okay. With that in mind, do you have any indication as to how quickly you think the house might sell?
I don't. They haven't even listed it yet.
Okay.
So, I will be drawing from some stock options to help cover that, and then try to stay focused on, groceries, daily budget, anything that is outside of the have-tos that I have to provide. Okay.
So here's going to be my encouragement to you. This is going to be probably a less of a technical YNAB thing and more of a how do we stay focused type thing.
Yeah.
So let's just say the average house, I don't know enough about your particular market, but let's say on average, a house that's on the market for 3 to 6 months, let's say it's on the high end and ends up being 6 to 9 months. Now we're talking about 9 times, let's call it 2,500 for easy math. So we're saying like 22, probably 22 grand, something like that in terms of just how much we're going to end up pulling from stock options or retirement accounts or creating new debt over the next half a year before we can sell the house and then get down. So the good news is that is not life-altering, totally uncomeback fromable money, right? And so it's like that is this is an area where we are walking into sort of a dark patch, but we're doing it eyes wide open, and we're going to try and just manage things as best we can in the meantime. The problem with this is more emotionally, this is just really difficult. My wife and I, when we got married, in our first year of marriage, we made 12 grand that first year. And I did the math going into it. I knew I was going to be drawing down from savings for the first year until I graduated and got a job. That's exactly what we did. Even though I put it on paper, even though I knew that was a plan, even though we went into it knowing it, it was emotionally difficult and we fought a ton and it was very hard and stressful for us that first year, even though that was the game plan. And so this is the game plan, and you're going to be able to come out the other side, but it's going to be really hard for the next few months. And so here's my encouragement for you. I really want you, I was gonna show you this. So with all my clients, we use this 5-stage money story roadmap that we've created. In terms of the roadmap, I'm not gonna go through every stage right now, but you are really kind of in stage 3. Now there's one thing that happens in stage 1, but then combined with stage 3 that I would really hammer for you. So I'm gonna scroll down here to stage 3. You've got your tracking down. You know how to use YNAB. You have a good handle on what's coming in and what's coming out. Stage 3, if you look right here, is really about creating a vision for what life gets to look like once we're on the other side of this tunnel that we're going through. And so, what I would love to see you do is spend some real time, and I can send you this video on this, but spend some real time really crafting a vision for you and your kids and what life looks like once the house sells, once we get on the other side of all this, and once life starts to create some sort of semblance of new normal. Like, really think about what is, mid 2027, what does next summer look like, right? The kids are 14 and 21 and 27 now. The house is gone. What does life feel like and look like? Get really, really clear on that. And then basically we need to staple that to your forehead every day so that while you're walking into this really difficult season and you're going to have to say no to eating out, and you're going to have to tell the kids we're cooking in tonight, and you're going to have to like hold the line on some stuff, I need you to stay really on top of why you're doing it so that it's going to hold you to it through this time. Does that make sense?
I love this. This is really what I needed. It's just, how do I make it through? So this is awesome.
Good. Okay. Well, I will send you this, and then we'll probably follow up and see how things are going. But Carley, I really appreciate you hopping on and letting me kind of chop away at your budget.
Oh, it was awesome. This has been super helpful. Thank you so much.
Good. Thank you.